The meaning of functional equivalence and divine in ancient Kemetic symbolism. The reason you should learn this is it will cut down immensely on confusion about the Kemetic symbolism. It will make the symbolism practical and useful for you by causing you to intuitively and spontaneously extract wisdom for your own personal well-being. If you don't learn this, you will be susceptible to other false ideas like masculine and feminine equate to male and female. If you don't learn this, you will continue to hold on to religious superstitious constructs like a god that is just like a human, which will cause you to continue beliefs like being punished and going to hell. Ancient symbolism is designed in a very structured way for a reason. The symbols passed down to us today are extremely sophisticated and done so in a way that makes the symbolism predictable for the person that is able to decipher the clues. Think of symbolism and myth like the old TV game show of Password. In the game, there is a clue giver that wants the contestant to verbalize a particular word. The clue giver has to lead the contestants to say the correct word. This is analogous to the way myth and symbolic language work. The symbols and myths give you predictable clues that can help you figure out different ideas intuitively. The predictable structure of symbols and myths become the clue giver to a knowledgeable participant or initiate. There are certain repeating symbols that, when understood, give you clues based on the function of those symbols. In other words, wherever these symbols show up, their function is the same no matter the stage or level they're on. These symbols are called functional equivalents. What is a functional equivalent? Functional equivalent means it serves the same function on different levels and stages in symbolism and myth. One of these functional equivalents that is highly misunderstood is what's called the divine masculine and divine feminine. Unfortunately, in modern times, divine masculine and divine feminine are equated to male and female or man and woman. This is a misapplication of symbolic language. Masculine and feminine are built-in functional equivalents to help the next person that receives the symbols gain understanding of the knowledge. When the knowledge is truly grasped, the symbols will evoke new epiphanies that will develop wisdom. When you see ancient Kemetic netters, you will notice one of the major functional equivalents is the masculine and feminine on every level. This gives you a clue as to their function on any level or stage of development. Let's take the divine feminine as the example of a functional equivalent and break it down symbolically as the ancients meant it to be used. The ancient Africans always used natural symbols to express metaphysical concepts to evoke new connections to the symbol and knowledge. The way the ancients chose symbols were not arbitrary. It was a natural development that started many thousands of years in the past. For example, consider how an indigenous person that first saw an airplane might call it an iron bird. In other words, they automatically connect it to something natural they're familiar with. The airplane has wings and flies like a bird. This was the case in ancient Africa. Symbolism was connected to everyday life. The ancient Egyptian symbolism developed along the Nile River and into Central Africa for over 60,000 years. That means they didn't just arbitrarily pick symbols and assign names and meaning to it. So it goes with the divine feminine as a functional equivalent in the structure of symbolism. The characteristics of the divine feminine is symbolically analogous to the womb. The womb is inside, a container. It's dark, has water, and all contents are hidden from sight, and new creations are birthed from the womb. Characteristics of the divine masculine means the seed. It is the penetrator. It's visible, it's active. When you examine the netters, you will find that at each level and stage, these masculine and feminine characteristics are standard. If we start from none, the contents of none are hidden by the fact that it is incomprehensible by the human mind. It's feminine. Atum created itself or birthed from none. Shu and Tefnut are the masculine and feminine constituent elements of creation. Tefnut represents vapor and fire, which is an unseen or hidden feminine component of the creative act. Shu is breath and water. Breath is life force. Geb and Nut are matter and space. Nut being space is the container for all that is matter in the universe. Matter, which is Geb, is contained in Nut. In the symbolism, Nut covers Geb. Nut swallows the sun at night and bursts it in the morning. Nut is the feminine aspect and a functional equivalent of the womb that is dark and a container. Not a woman, not female. Then of course you get to the more well-known netters of Asar, Aset, Set, and Nebhet. But all feminine aspects, no matter the level, have the same functions in relation to the masculine aspect. Masculine is the seed, and feminine is the womb and the receiver, the container and incubator of the seed. Again, this is all figurative, as the ideas are metaphysical and precedes human expression. So by the design and structure of the myth and symbols, you have built-in clues as to how all the myths should work. The mythological symbols work to communicate ideas because they are predictable and consistent. In a way, what it does is categorize certain aspects of the information symbolically. When someone comes along later, as you have, and understands the design and structure of the symbols and myth, they can extract information from it. There are more, but to avoid overload and confusion, I'll stay on masculine and feminine. Again, this is figurative. The idea is universal and can be applied to biology as well as astrophysics. The universality of any idea is the basis of a divine concept. Divine feminine or divine masculine simply notes the idea with the ability to apply on many levels or stages. In other words, it's applied on a broad spectrum of information. Divine in this sense doesn't mean a godlike being. Hence, divine masculine and divine feminine are universal, functional equivalents that can be applied on many levels and stages of symbolism. Divine is more about expressing a scientific concept, not a religious designation of a deity. Recapping, divine masculine and divine feminine are functional equivalents. A functional equivalent means it serves the same function on different levels and stages in symbolism and myth. Divine feminine means it's womb-like, a container, it's dark, has water, it's receptive, and all components in it are hidden from sight, and new creations are birthed from the womb. It's passive. Divine masculine means the seed. It is the penetrator. It's visible. It's active. So that's the recap of a functional equivalent and the divine. This is Reginald Ku Akaru signing off. You're at www.kemeticcenteredliving.com, where knowledge becomes wisdom.